let's watch a video about ghost guns, and then we'll read this article about the Supreme Court's decision. Yeah? Sounds good? Yeah?
Douglas County Sheriff's Office is continuing to look for a third suspect in the shooting death of 14-year-old Kyra Scott. And investigators arrested her 13-year-old brother and a 19-year-old. Both are charged with her murder. The sheriff says the 13-year-old was allegedly selling ghost guns, and then the 19-year-old and another suspect came to the home and stole one, causing the brother to open fire and accidentally shooting his 14-year-old sister, killing her. 11 Alive's Don White is in the studio with us tonight explaining why they're called ghost guns and why anyone can legally buy parts to make them. Don.
Well, ghost guns are untraceable firearms made from parts bought online. The Atlanta criminal defense lawyer that we spoke to for this story, he says you don't have to be of a certain age to buy the parts online.
Federal law right now does not control or cover ghost guns. And so no matter who you are, if you're a child, if you're a convicted felon, if you're a terrorist, you can go online and purchase these parts, get the parts, construct a firearm, even though it would have been illegal for you to possess that firearm if you went to the store and tried to purchase it.
11 Alive legal analyst Paige Pate says it's a federal crime to scratch off a serial number from a firearm. But there's a loophole with ghost guns, since they're made without a serial number and are sold as just parts.
Under federal law, the part for a firearm is not a firearm. And federal law only regulates firearms. Now, there's an exception if it's an automatic weapon. A part of a machine gun is still a machine gun. But for a regular firearm, a semi-automatic firearm, a part is not the firearm.
The Douglas County Sheriff's Office says the brother had been making and selling the homemade weapons on the street. Now, some people may be wondering, could his parents face criminal charges?
There is a Georgia law called reckless conduct, and it can apply when
Jeez, that's fucking vague.
So negligent that he or she is allowing things to happen in the house that could be criminal and that could ultimately hurt someone, and that's exactly what happened here.
Pate says it doesn't matter if a parent knew their child was making guns in the home.
You have a certain obligation as a parent to know what's happening in your house, especially with your kids. Because if the parent basically says, look, you know, whatever happens in that room,
I have like no idea what's it called. If this just popped into my head thinking about that. Like, if the parents of mass shooters get caught up with this law, because I definitely feel like that should be absolutely, you know, if your kid steals your firearm or harbors a lot of this stuff, then yeah, I do think you should have some kind of liability around that.
I don't know about. That's not good enough under Georgia law.
President Joe Biden proposed measures to curb gun violence in the spring. One of them would direct the ATF to classify gun kits as firearms. Public comment for that measure ended in August, but the agency still hasn't acted. Coming up at 6, Pate's message to parents.
All right. No, shush. Shush. We're not on to that yet. Anyway, so with that information, apparently the Supreme Court has upheld Biden's ghost gun rule, which certainly is a what's it called? Is a good thing. All right, the Biden administration can enforce new restrictions on kits used to make homemade firearms, but a legal challenge will continue. The Supreme Court voted 5-4. Oh, lovely. Oh, wait a minute. Okay. Show me who. All right, who were the ones who voted for this? Merrick Garland. 1, 2, 3. Yes. Okay, lovely. Clarence Thomas, Alito, Gorsuch, and Kavanaugh. In the event, yeah, which means what? It was the 3. No, wait. That shouldn't be it. Because what is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? I'm confused. The application for stay presented to Justice Alito. Okay. Voted 5-4 on Tuesday to allow the Biden administration regulation ghost guns to go into effect. What? The application for stay presented to Justice Alito and by him referred to the court is granted. The June 30th, 2023 order in July 5th, 2023 judgment of the United States District Court for the Northern District of Texas Insofar they vacate the final rule of the Bureau of ATF, are stayed pending the disposition of the appeal in the United States, United States Court of Appeals for the Fifth Circuit. Disposition, should certain be denied, say shall terminate automatically in the event. Thomas Alito Gorsuch. Oh, this is just a notice of pending case. Okay. Okay. We'll just read the article. Allow Biden administration regulations, so-called ghost guns, to go into effect. The ruling is a temporary victory for the administration, but a lawsuit challenging the regulations will continue in the lower courts. Let's a little bit bigger. Yeah, sure. Two conservative justices, John Robertson, Amy Coney Barrett, joined. Oh, Robertson Barrett. Okay, Kavanaugh. Okay, so those were the okay. Two conservative justices, John Robertson, Amy Coney Barrett, joined with the court's three liberals to allow the government to begin enforcing the regulations that were celebrated by groups pushing for tighter gun laws. Four other conservative justices dissented. At issue are kits used to make homemade firearms, which are commonly called ghost guns because they don't have serial numbers that make them traceable. The ATF rolled out regulations on these kits last year that required them to have serial numbers and ordered sellers to keep transaction records and run background checks on buyers. A company that sells gun parts and pro-Second Amendment groups sued to overturn the rule. They argued that the ATF overstepped its authority by broadening the definition of a firearm in the rule. Judge Reed O'Connor, a conservative in the Northern District of Texas, shocker, blocked the rule from taking effect nationwide last month. The Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals left O'Connor's ruling in place. The Biden administration then filed an emergency appeal at the Supreme Court, urging the court to reinstate the rule. Lawyers for the government argued that unassembling ghost guns should be treated like guns that come fully assembled. Every speaker of English would recognize that a tax on sales of bookshelves applies to IKEA when it sells boxes of parts and tools and instructions for assembling them into bookshelves. Oh, wow. Strong. Yeah, okay. The court's insistence on treating guns differently contradicts ordinary usage and makes a mockery of Congress's careful regulatory scheme. Attorneys for the challengers countered that since the gun kits don't always come with all the parts necessary to make the guns, the IKEA analogy doesn't work. A better analogy would be to a taco kit sold as a bundle by a grocery store that includes taco shells, seasoning packets, salsa, and other toppings, along with a slab of raw beef, they argued. No one would call the taco kit a taco. In addition to assembly, turning it into one would require cutting or grinding and cooking the meat. And until that was done, it would be nonsensical to treat it as food and the equivalent of a taco. Whoa, wait. Okay. First of all of those things are food. You don't have to make a taco to make, let's say, taco salad. You can literally take all of that stuff and make taco salad with it, and it's not technically a taco. Also, I think the differential is I get where they're going. I definitely see where they're going with this. It's just also you can't make with the IKEA in the case of like an IKEA let's say a bookshelf, for example, as they used the bookshelf is they give you specific parts sized in a specific way, cut in a specific fashion, and fitted with specific holes, specific indents, stuff like that, to basically facilitate your assembly. The idea that like they're just giving you a box of wood and you kind of put it together is a bit absurd, because it's not just a box of wood. It's a box of wood that's been painted, that's been sanded down, that like there's quite a lot of processes that have already happened before you even get to the part where it becomes a bookshelf. The same way that if you're buying gun parts, those gun parts have already been you're not buying steel, like a steel cylinder, and then fashioning that into a barrel. You're buying the barrel. It was cut, made, manufactured, everything with the explicit intent of it being made into a gun. there isn't an alternative for a like, you know, a pistol barrel. There is an alternative usage for that. There is no, you don't like, you know, you don't rifle it out. You don't do all of that stuff just because you can, and someone's just incidentally buying a cylinder of metal. What they're doing is buying a you know, like a proper what's the word I'm looking for? You know, what they're doing is buying a proper piece of a weapon. Same with them. You know, actually, how about this? What if we kind of go through and I kind of demonstrate this a little bit, huh? That sounds, yeah, we'll do that after this. We'll do that after this a little bit. Joining Roberts and Barrett in a majority were Justices Sonia Sotomayor, Elena Kagan, and Ketanji Brown Jackson. Justices Clarence Thomas, Sam Alito, Neil Gorsuch, and Brett Kavanaugh dissented. As is common with orders on the court's so-called shadow docket, neither the majority nor the dissenters explained their reasoning. Oh, sorry, I didn't read on Tuesday, the court sided with the government. At least for now, the case now returns to the lower courts, where the challengers may continue to press their arguments. Supporters of stricter gun laws praised the ATF rule when it was rolled out last year. Quote, this final rule would shutter many of the ghost gun companies that flooded the market with untraceable ghost guns intentionally, designed to evade regulation. This is true. ATF received more than 4,500 reports from 2016 to 2021 of suspected, quote, ghost guns recovered by law enforcement officials, including almost 700 in homicide or attempted homicide investigations. According to a DOJ statement, ghost guns are, quote, difficult to trace and easy to acquire by criminals. Lovely. Okay, so let's kind of demonstrate this a little bit, right? Let's see. All right. Here we go. So let's take a look, shall we? All right. So if you are a person, like the concept behind ghost guns is really, really simple. It's pretty much, hey, I'm basically buying, and we're going to use a Glock here. But you know, I'm buying all of this kind of piecemeal, and you know, because of that, none of this is going to be, none of this is going to be tracked. So to take a look, let's look at, this is actually a really good example here. So if you are if you're somebody who's not allowed to own firearms, you can readily buy this on eBay. You are able to buy the spring assembly, firing pin, covers, extractors, whole bunch of stuff, right? You're able to buy all of this. This is all kind of above board. You can buy all the internal pieces, $30. $30 for all of the internal pieces. If you wanted to, let's see, let's do lowest. Let's go like as cheap as we can possibly get. Let's see. Oh, here we go. You could buy a whole bunch of your parts. So you have, I'm assuming that's the barrel right there. Yep, you've got all of your springs. You got all of this. This will cost you $35. You can then, let's see, go down and it's not even like, oh, there's really not a lot of options. You got all the options on springs. Oh, you can buy, these look like sights, I think. Extended slide lock. Sorry. You have that. You can go, might cost you, let's see, lowest you're looking at $135 for a slide with a lot of porting on it. You can get yourself a slide, and let's see, can you get a barrel? You should be able to get a barrel. Let's see. Now, because the law just passed, they might have taken it. Oh, nope, right there. You can get the barrel right here along with the rest of the parts. And let's see. Let's see. No. Let's try this. Palmer. Oh, shit. Did I actually? I think I forgot. Let's do highest first, because these might be. Oh, look at that. You can get, oh, look at that. Like, and again, this is eBay, guys. This isn't, I'm not even going on like a website that's like, you know, I'm not going on Gunbroker or anything. This is just eBay. Couple $100. And the only thing you actually need, which I don't know if you can buy on here. Maybe that's like the, oh wait, what is this? Oh, that's a just trigger. But yeah, if you can't find it on here, I'm pretty sure. Let's see. Da, 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 da. Hey, stop it. All right. And yeah, Polymer 80 build kit, $350. To be honest, you could actually just go here, buy this, and I'm pretty sure you can just get this sent to your house. $350, nothing. No, nothing. No, you know, and this is only coming with, and what you're buying, understand what you're buying. So when they talk about ghost guns, right? What you're primarily buying and what the kits are primarily selling you is the tan part, is the actual lower receiver. That's the part that you're mostly buying. And then all the rest of it is piecemeal, costs, you know, $30-$40. You know, the slide will cost you a little bit. But again, all of that, and you know, usually the lowers cost you maybe somewhere around $100. You could easily manufacture these. And like, you know, for under this is highballing it. 350 is like highballing it. You can absolutely do this for cheaper. But this is the thing. Like, there's so many ways that the gun manufacturing industry, in the United States specifically, really attempts to slide around a lot of these. Go spend a little bit of time on like you know, 2A YouTube or even 2A Twitter. You're gonna see a lot of videos of people who genuinely believe that there should be no you can't get in there anymore. We locked it. No restrictions on this sort of stuff. That you know, they'll say that all of these parts are the same thing as, you know, what they use, like a taco, you know, a taco kit thing. Even though a taco kit, every single thing every single thing in a taco kit can be used. Like, let's like, now I'm kind of like, all right, we'll go over it. We'll do it. If I can, like, assuming I can find a good picture of what that will look like. Okay, no. Because like I get where they're trying to come from with the taco kit argument, but I actually think it's pretty asinine. Like, it's a pretty weak argument, quite frankly. Let's see. Let's see. There we go. Cool. All right. This is kind of what I want. So their argument is like, hey, look, all of these things, like, assume whatever's cooked isn't cooked yet, but everything else is done. They're trying to make the argument that, like, well, look, you wouldn't reasonably call all of these things, you know, all like in disparate, unconnected to each other, you know, unless you combine them, it doesn't equal a taco, right? But at the end of the day, what somebody does when they buy this stuff is they want to make food. They might not even use the tortillas or the taco shells. They might not use the pico de gallo. You can still have a taco with only 2 elements. As long as you have 2 elements, it's a taco. And even then, the definition of taco is pretty is like pretty loose. You know, we have, I mentioned earlier, like taco salad, stuff like that. Like, at the end of the day, all of these ingredients are all used for food consumption. They are, at the end of the day, you know, even if they're not prepared, they're all there to be prepared to make into some kind of meal. Maybe you wouldn't call it a taco kit, but you can, even when you buy a taco kit, you don't have to make tacos out of it. You don't have to. Whereas the difference is there isn't another use for any of these objects. There is not another use for each one of these that are unique or different. Like you can't use any of this for anything. These parts are manufactured specifically with one intent, and it's all to be installed and combined to create a gun. There isn't like, there isn't, oh yeah, I bought I bought this this Glock barrel. Not because I'm using it in a Glock, I'm using it as like a pen holder, or as a I'm gonna fashion it into like a sharpener or something. Like it's not. To make this argument, you would have to like believe that any of these parts can be used in other things for other uses, and they're just not. There's nothing else to use these with. But that's the argument they're going to try and make. I don't suppose it's going to be very successful. Clearly, the Supreme Court allowed them, luckily allowed them to keep hearing arguments in the lower courts, but we'll kind of see how this plays out. I'll be certainly curious. I'm not sure where the argument is for the existence of ghost guns. Certainly, there are people who will say that there shouldn't be any registration or anything like that of firearms. I strongly disagree with that. But certainly, like, adding serial numbers to things is not an infringement on your rights. Certainly. The thing that they tell, like at the end of all YouTube videos where they tell you to like click on one of these like things to watch more videos. Yeah, I've been meaning to film one of those. So that's what I was doing. I was just setting it up to film one.